In the sterile, air-conditioned rooms where modern wars are war-gamed and simulated, there is a cold, hard truth that gets lost amidst discussions of sensor fusion and stealth coatings. It is the brutal, unforgiving logic of mathematics. For 30 years, the United States Air Force operated on the assumption that technology conquers all. Build the most advanced, invisible, and lethal aircraft in history, and the enemy will be so overwhelmed by quality that quantity becomes irrelevant. As we look toward the strategic horizon of the 2030s, that assumption is colliding with a numerical reality that borders on catastrophic. It is a problem no amount of pilot skill or software updates can easily solve. To understand the depth of this crisis, we must conduct a brutally honest audit of the defenders. The United States Air Force is touted as the largest and most capable in the world. But strip away the tankers, the transports, the trainers, and the specialized support aircraft, and the tip of the spear is shockingly thin. The primary defender of American air dominance is the Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor. It is the only fighter in the Western inventory designed exclusively to penetrate the most heavily defended airspace on Earth and kill other fifth-generation fighters. It is the apex predator. There are roughly 180 of them in existence. That number is misleadingly optimistic. It includes aircraft in long-term maintenance, aircraft assigned to testing at Edwards Air Force Base, and aircraft in training squadrons at Tyndall and Langley. Filter out the non-combat coated airframes, and the Raptor's ready to fight. Tonight drop to approximately 120. Apply the standard mission capable rate for a complex stealth platform, hovering around 50 to 60%, and the fleet available for a Pacific deployment shrinks to perhaps 60 or 70 jets. That is the entire shield protecting American interests across the Pacific. The Pentagon argues that the F-35 Lightning II will fill the gap. After all, thousands are planned. But the F-35 was never designed to be an air superiority fighter. It is a multi-role strike aircraft, a quarterback designed to gather data, coordinate the battle, and deliver precision weapons. It is slower than the J-20, has a lower service ceiling, and carries fewer air-to-air missiles internally. Asking the F-35 to go toe-to-toe with a swarm of high-altitude, supercruising J-20s is asking a linebacker to beat an Olympic sprinter. It can fight. But it is fighting outside its weight class. The F-15EX Eagle II is a formidable missile truck, capable of carrying a staggering array of weaponry, but it is a fourth-generation airframe. In a stealth versus stealth fight, it will be detected and targeted long before it can bring its arsenal to bear. Against this fragile, fragmented American defense, you must overlay the trajectory of the Chengdu Aerospace Corporation. Current intelligence projections, cited by analysts at institutions including RAND and CSIS, suggest a J-20 fleet that could reach 1,000 airframes by the 2030 to 2035 timeframe if current and projected production rates hold. 1,000 J-20s against 60 to 70 deployable Raptors. This brings us to the ratio that haunts Pacific Command, 5-to-1. For every single F-22 the United States can scramble in a crisis over Taiwan or the South China Sea, 5 J-20 stealth fighters may be waiting. This is not a tactical disadvantage. It is a strategic drowning. Even granting that the American pilot is better trained and the Raptor marginally superior in technology, the physics of combat break down at these odds. Let us play out the engagement as wargamers do without sentiment. A flight of 4 F-22s detects a formation of 20 J-20s. The Raptors hold the advantage of the first shot. They are invisible, fast, and lethal. Each carries 6 AIM-1-0 radar-guided missiles internally, a total of 24 missiles for the American flight. They fire everything. Assume a kill probability, historically unprecedented, nearly every missile hits. 18, perhaps 19 Chinese jets are destroyed. It is a heroic performance, the kind that would make aces weep with admiration. Then the warning lights flash. The Raptors are Winchester out of ammunition, and there is still 1 J-20 left, or a second wave of 20 behind the first. The Raptors, now toothless, must turn and sprint supersonic toward a tanker or a base hundreds of miles away. While they are gone, the airspace opens. Surviving J-20s push forward to slaughter the support assets, the tankers, the AWACS, the fourth-generation fighters that depended on the Raptors for protection. The Americans lose the battle not because their pilots failed, not because their planes were inferior, but because they ran out of missiles before the enemy ran out of jets. The psychological weight of this disparity is crushing. The American commander knows that every F-22 lost is a permanent reduction in national power. There are no replacements coming. The production line is cold. The tooling is gone. The Chinese commander knows he can trade 3, 4, even 5 J-20s for one Raptor and still come out ahead strategically. His factories will replace the losses next month. American factories cannot. We have spent 3 decades focused on the kill chain, how fast we can detect and shoot. We forgot about the supply chain, how long we can sustain the fight. At a certain point, quantity becomes its own quality. When the ratio hits 5-to-1, the math stops being a theory. It becomes a verdict. The United States is bringing the world's sharpest knife to a gunfight. The enemy has brought 1,000 guns. If one analyzes the physical geometry of the J-20 Mighty Dragon, a realization emerges. It is long, heavy, and surprisingly substantial for a stealth fighter. For years, critics mocked this size, comparing it unfavorably to the compact aggression of the F-16 or the acrobatic lethality of the F-22. In a turning fight within visual range, they argued the J-20 would be sluggish, a lumbering giant, easy prey. They were asking the wrong question. The designers at Chengdu did not build the J-20 to win a knife fight in a phone booth. They built a sniper, machine designed to execute one specific, ruthless strategy that targets the single greatest vulnerability of American power in the Pacific: its absolute addiction to fuel. To understand the tanker killer strategy, look at the map. The Pacific theater is defined by distance in a way that no other potential battlefield is. American air bases in Guam, Japan, and Hawaii are separated from the potential combat zones in the Taiwan Strait by hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles. An F-22 Raptor, for all its technological brilliance, has a combat radius of roughly 500 miles. It cannot take off from Guam, fly to the Taiwan Strait, fight a high-intensity engagement, and return. The help comes in the form of aerial refueling tankers. The Boeing KC-135 Stratotanker and the newer KC-46 Pegasus. These massive converted airliners are the circulatory system of the United States Air Force. They are the flying gas stations that allow American fighters to project power across oceans. Without them, the entire Pacific Air Campaign collapses within hours. The Chinese doctrine identifies these tankers as priority targets. They call them enablers. And unlike the stealth fighters they support, these enablers are slow, enormous, and radiologically deafening. On a radar screen, KC-135 blazes like a searchlight. It cannot hide, it cannot run, carries no meaningful defenses. It is the most valuable and most vulnerable aircraft in the American inventory. This is where the J-20 swarm finds its true strategic purpose. In a major conflict, the People's Liberation Army Air Force has no intention of honoring American air superiority by sending J-20s to joust with T-22s. That is an attrition game they do not need to play. The strategy is to use the swarm to bypass the knights and kill the horses. Imagine the tactical application. A swarm of 50 J-20s launches from the Chinese mainland. American Raptors scramble to intercept, forming a defensive wall. Pilots are ready. Their systems are primed. But the J-20 formation splits. A portion of the swarm engages the Raptors, firing missiles not to score kills, but to force the Americans defensive. To make them turn, burn energy, and look away. To occupy them completely, while the Raptors deal with the immediate threat. The rest of the J-20 swarm, the assassin flight, uses its speed and frontal stealth to slip past the chaotic front line. These jets are not hunting fighters, they are hunting the backfield. They are sprinting toward tankers, loitering hundreds of miles behind the fighter screen, where no threat was supposed to reach them. This is where the Place-15 air-to-air missile becomes the most dangerous weapon in the theater. With a range exceeding 180 miles, the J-20 does not need to approach the tanker. It can launch from the edge of the stratosphere, guiding its weapon via data link until the missile's own active radar seeker acquires the massive aluminum profile of the tanker. The tanker has no stealth, no countermeasures capable of defeating a modern radar-guided missile at that range. It is a sitting duck in the middle of the ocean. When the missile strikes, a cascade begins, what strategists call the collapse. The F-22s and F-35s fighting on the front lines receive the call no pilot ever wants to hear. Their gas station is gone. They check their fuel gauges. 20 minutes of flying time remaining. Home base is 600 miles away. The math is merciless. There is nowhere to land. There's no one coming to help. The most sophisticated machines ever constructed by human civilization, worth hundreds of millions of dollars each, the product of decades of engineering genius, effectively become gliders. Pilots eject over open water, watching as their stealth fighters spiral into the waves, undefeated in combat, destroyed by logistics. The swarm wins without winning a single dogfight. This strategy illuminates every design decision that critics have mocked in the J-20. Its great size to carry the internal fuel load needed to range deep into the Pacific and hunt without its own tankers. Its emphasis on frontal stealth and straight-line speed over rear aspect stealth and maneuverability. Because it is designed to punch through the defensive line and sprint, not to circle and turn. Its extraordinary range because the prey it hunts lives far behind the front. When we ask whether the U.S. Air Force can handle a swarm of 1,000 J-20s, focusing on pilot skill or turning radius is asking the wrong question entirely. The danger of the swarm is that it possesses the numbers to sacrifice 10 jets to kill one tanker. And that is a trade China will make every day of a conflict. Because when the tankers die, American air power in the Pacific evaporates. Not through defeat in battle, through the quiet, merciless mathematics of fuel.